Hello everyone, it's Sheila back again with a bit more of the tutorial. This time it's part 4. I'm doing the sleeves, and as you can see I've already cast on the stitches and done the rib and part of the pattern. Well, I casted on 39 stitches and I did 12 rows in knit 1, purl 1, rib, and then I worked out the pattern, because this being an odd number I want the same number at the start and as at the finish. So I worked it out again on the graph paper. I only used the last one that I did for the side, and as you can see there was 38 stitches for the side, but I've got 39 for the sleeve, so I've just added an extra stitch. So that's the 3 knit stitches and the purl stitches and the 3 knit stitches, and the same on the other end, the 3 knit stitches. So all I had to do was add that one to make it the 39 stitches to get to how to start off the pattern. But as the sleeve goes on, I'm going to have to increase extra stitches up the sleeve, but I'll get to that, tell you about that when I get to it. So I've already done one increase, and on this one here, because of it having a pattern, I'm doing the increase on the wrong side, because the wrong side is just all purl, so it's just one stitch all the way across. If I was doing it on this side, I'd have to sort out where I was going to put it with the being knit stitches and purl stitches. So I'm going to do, this is an increasing row I'm going to do, so I'm show you how I'm doing the increase on here. So I'm going to purl 2 stitches, and then I'm going to pick up the bar between that stitch and that stitch. I'm going to pick up this bar and put it on the needle, and then I'm going to knit into the back of it, go behind it and pick it up and come up in front of the other part of the stitch, and knit it like that, purl it like that, and that twists the stitch a little bit. It looks a bit loose there, but when you knit the next stitch it closes up. So that's how I've done the increase on the purl side. You must twist it otherwise you'll have a hole in the middle of the knitting. So I'm going to knit across to the other side. Drop the wool on the floor out of the way. And I'll pause that until I get to the end. And I'm almost up to the next increase. I'm going to knit those 2 stitches. I'll be left with 2 stitches on the needle, and then again I'm going to pick up that bar between the 2 stitches and then knit into the back of it and bring the needle through to the front. Purl it, take it off, and then purl those last 2 stitches. Then you don't see that hole at it. It looked like a hole when I was doing it, but it's not. So as you can see, that's where the stitch has been increased. You can just see where it's crossed over. The stitch is crossed over there. And there on that side. It's not very noticeable. You can see down here, that was where I did it, the first increase. I increased on the 4th row, and I'm increasing on every 6th row until I have 57 stitches, and that's, we now have on the end, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. So when I come to knit this, on the first increase, it made it up to 4 stitches, but I just knit 4 because I didn't want to start with a purl. But now there's 5 stitches, so I'm going to start with a knit, then a purl, and then the 3 knit. And that's how you just work those extra stitches into the pattern as you go along. And when I get to 59 stitches, I think it is, yes, 59. I'll have to check up on my what I have written down for, but I think it's 59 stitches. But I'll verify that when I get that far. So that's all for now until I get up to the armholes. Well, this is the sleeve knitted up to where I need to shape the armholes. And just a reminder, I have 39 stitches and I've knit 12 rows twisted rib, and I've knit this to 11 inches, which is what I want, but anyone knitting it maybe 9.5 to 10 inches, it depends what age you're doing the size 24 for. I have increased from the 4th row and then every 6th row until I had 47 stitches, and then I've increased on every 8th row until I had 57 stitches. That's how many stitches you need for before you start the shaping, the armhole shaping. And you will need to knit that to whatever length you are doing. Like I said, mine's 11 inches. The whole sleeve from the bottom of the rib is 11 inches, but the smaller 24 for a smaller child would be probably about 10 inches. So anyone doing a smaller length sleeve, just start increasing on from the 4th row and then every 6th row after that until you have the 57 stitches. And now I'm going to show how to do the shaping on the armholes. And it's exactly the same as the back. You just cast off 2 stitches. That's 1, 2, knit across to the end of the row in the 3x1 rib. And this one, when you get your 57 stitches, your first lot of stitches will be 4 knit stitches, because I don't do a purl first and then knit 3. If it's like that, there's 4 stitches, I knit 4 stitches, and that's what I've done for that. But the rest of it is 3x1. So you knit across the end of the row till you get to the other side. One, two, three, up. Knit one there when I should have purled. Then I've dropped the stitch. I'm not always perfect. And then 1, 2, 3, purl 1, and then 1, 2, 3, knit, and I will pause that until I get to the other end. And I'm at the last 4 stitches on that row. Knit those 4 stitches. On the purl row, we're going to cast off 2 purl ways. It's all purl across this row, so that's 1, 2, and then just purl across the row. And again, I'll just pause that until I get to the end. So there, I've cast off those stitches, 2 stitches on both ends, and now I'm going to do the decreasing. But I'm at the end of a ball here, so I'll need to join another ball on. I never join a ball on in the middle. If it isn't enough to knit all the way across, I just leave it and start a new ball. But I know there's not enough there anyway, it's only a small amount. So I'm going to start another ball. And to start the decreasing, I'm going to knit 2. When I join a ball, I knit the 2 strands together on the first stitch. Leave that long bit hanging. And then I'm going to knit another stitch, and I'll be knitting those 2 together when I come to the end of that, the next row. This row we're going to knit 2 together into the back of the loops, and then just knit the 3 by 1 across the row. Exactly the same as you did for the back. That's knit 3 and purl 1 all the way across the row, and I'll pause that until I get to the end of the row. And I'm at the last 4 stitches, so I'm just going to knit 2 together and knit 2. And that's the knit row. And on the purl row, we're going to knit the first 2 stitches to give that garter stitch effect on the raglans, and then just purl across the row. And again, I'll pause that until I get to the end of the row. And we are up to the last 4 stitches. I'm going to knit 2, purl 2, sorry. And then I'm going to knit the last 2 stitches. Knit the 1 stitch and then knit the 2 stitches together where I joined the yarn. And knitting those 2 stitches, the 2 lengths of wool together where I joined the wool on, keeps it tight at that end instead of having a loose. You would have a loose stitch if you just joined it and left it, and I sort those out later on when I'm sewing it up. Sometimes a little bit extra like that gives you, if you haven't got enough wool to get all the way down, sometimes a little bit extra like that helps. And so that's my decreasing with the garter, the 2-stitch garter edge on it. And you keep decreasing in that way every other row until you come to 5 stitches. And you put those 5 stitches onto a holder. When I get that far, I will show the putting them onto I put them just onto a large safety pin, so I'll show you that when I get to it. And I've knitted up to the last 7 stitches, and for those stitches I'm going to knit 2, going to slip the next stitch, knit the next 2 stitches together, pass that slip stitch over, knit the last 2 stitches, and then for the last row knit 2, purl 1, knit the last 2 stitches. And that's the first sleeve finished. And we need to put these stitches onto this safety pin now. So I'm going to just slip them off like this. Now cut off the length of the yarn for sewing it up. And there we have the raglan, the finished sleeve. That way. So that's that sleeve done. There's just one more sleeve to do, and the next tutorial will be putting the button bands, the neck band and the button and buttonhole bands. So give a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll show you the next part when I get the next sleeve done.